Get everyone checked in. Looks like we have a Stephen Langdon here. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And Mr. Langdon, you are the property owner.
Correct.
Okay.
Along with
Great.
my wife.
Welcome. Okay. We also have Kate Meehan here from the City Zoning Department.
Yes. Good morning.
Welcome, Kate. Good morning.
Thanks.
Mr. Langdon, are you expecting anyone else to join us here today on the applicant owner side?
My wife said she might try to get on. She's got a family health emergency, so she said she may just get on and listen. I don't think she's going to be able to speak though.
Okay, great. So you're ready to get started and to proceed without her.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and do that. Before we get started, I need to read through our hearing script. This will just cover the procedure for the hearing, and then we'll get started. This is the March 27th, 2024 section of the Zoning Hearing Examiner docket. My name is David Sturkey. Again, I'll be presiding over the hearing. The case before us today is case number ZH20240019. The purpose of this hearing is to allow applicants and any potential opposing parties to testify and to offer and refute evidence testimony. This hearing will follow the rules found in the zoning code and the supplemental rules of the Zoning Hearing Examiner. All testimony and evidence that an applicant or any potential opposing party wishes to offer must be presented at this hearing. The hearing will proceed as follows. The applicant, the applicant's attorney, or the applicant's agent will first present the applicant's case. If there were anyone here from the public, they would have an opportunity to present after the applicant had presented his case. I'll hear from the zoning department and Ms. Meehan for any testimony she would like to provide. In the event that any party testifies or offers argument in opposition to this application, the applicant will have an opportunity to rebut or refute that testimony that was offered in opposition. And then finally, the applicant will have an opportunity to make any closing statements. Let's see. After all presentations have been made, I will close the hearing. Decisions may be expected within 2 weeks. I may limit or exclude any testimony that I deem irrelevant or outside the scope of the application being considered. I may interrupt the speaker to ask questions or to make any comments. I may also, if there are any technical difficulties with the Zoom technology, I'll do my best to troubleshoot those on the fly. But to the extent there is some defect that prevents us from meaningfully going forward with the hearing, I may continue or postpone the hearing at my discretion. Okay, looks like we have Ms. Mathis trying to join us now, so I'll just pause for a minute. Right. I'll just keep going in light of what you told me earlier, Mr. Langdon. All right, the last thing I need to do is just swear in all of our witnesses. So if you intend on providing any testimony here today, then the zoning code requires that I swear you in. So if that's you, if you could raise your right hand now, I need everyone to answer out loud. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay, great. Thanks, everyone. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Mr. Langdon, are you ready to tell me about the project and why you think I should grant this relief?
Yes.
Okay, floor is yours.
So we are requesting to get relief from the total 12-foot setback constraint to build a garage that'll be attached to the current house. We have I believe 6 feet of setback on one side, and then to the other side, the proposed garage would be within 3 feet of the property line. And so we're asking for essentially the relief of 3 feet to get there. This would improve the usage of our house greatly for parking of cars, storage of kids, bikes, all that kind of stuff. We have worked with our neighbors and talked to them, and we even got a marked out survey just to make sure we knew where the property line was between our houses, to make sure everybody was on board with that.
Did they provide any letters of support or anything written down?
The neighbors did not, because of the timing of it. They wanted to make sure that we got the property survey done. Their only concern was not the structure being there, but just to make sure if they were to sell in the future, that they could confidently tell any new owner that they knew exactly where the property line was, and that the proposed building was not over the property line. They looked at the CAGIS website, and on those with the satellite imagery, sometimes the boundary line looks a little different than what the actual boundary line is. And so we just agreed to split a boundary survey to be, 100% sure that there would be, nothing there. And then after getting that boundary survey, that was done, I believe, last Wednesday. And so they just didn't have time to write that letter in, but they said that they did not have any issues now, knowing that it would not, that the addition would not be on the property line. They were totally okay with the 3 feet. They just, based on that cage's imagery, were concerned that the property line was in a different spot.
Okay, thanks.
The addition will add value to the existing property and kind of match up with some of the other houses on the streets and the surrounding neighborhood for having garage. It'll benefit our family greatly in terms of just the general usage, and it'll also help in terms of the home value taxation. It should also help any increased value of some of the homes surrounding the area. The area that we live in is a very hot area. Housing prices are going up. Lots of people trying to move in, and so I think it kind of matches with improving the neighborhood and the house for our usage. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I looked at the staff recommendation stuff, and that seems to be all in general like a positive in terms of like the standards for the variances and the recommendations to be approved there. Is there any other questions? I'm not a professional at this, so I'm not exactly sure what all you would like me to say here. Do you have any questions or anything about it?
No. I mean, I think generally this is pretty straightforward, and I don't think that I have any questions. I mean, the only thing usually with this that I'm concerned about is the impact for neighboring properties on like light, wind, that sort of thing. And I think with the orientation of this next to the existing home, it doesn't appear like there will be adverse impacts. But do you want to speak on that at all?
No.
Any
So
potential adverse impacts?
Yeah, with the way the sun tracks overhead, the I guess early morning sun would not.
It kind of hits you on the east, right? Or I guess that was, I don't know.
Yeah, on that east side, it wouldn't impact it because the way the sun is rising in the east, that it wouldn't affect the neighbors to our east, and then the neighbors to the west. The existing house is already taller than the proposed addition. And then in terms of the evening sun, the reverse, when it's in the west, because the existing housing structure is taller than the proposed addition, it wouldn't affect the amount of light that the neighbors would be getting, just because it would be tucked into the shadow of the existing structure there. In terms of wind, there will still be at least 25 feet between the edge of the proposed addition and our neighbors to the east house. And so I don't think it would affect, the amount of wind there. I don't think it's going to create any kind of like pressure channel that would increase wind there in between our houses. And then on the other side, the other neighbors, because there's no change to that shouldn't affect it. And then the neighbors to the front or the back of us, again, I think because the way the sun essentially kind of goes east to west along that Troy Avenue street, I don't think it would affect any wind or sunlight for those houses as well.
Okay. All right, great. Yeah, I don't think I have any other questions. Is it Mathis? Mr. Langdon told me that you had some more pressing obligations this morning. You're not required to speak, but if you would like to, now would be the time.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I was a few minutes late.
That's no problem, but we'll have to swear you in if you do want to provide any testimony. Again, you don't have to. Do you solemnly swear the testimony you shall give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear, yes.
Great. What would you like to tell me?
I mean, I just was gonna, I think Stephen covered most of the items as far as how it would increase the value of the home. And there was one other thing I wanted to bring up is that there are several other legally non-conforming multifamily dwellings on the street. So it doesn't it doesn't feel like it would be something out of the norm of the street. You know, most of the properties in the city are pretty tight, and I understand the reason for the guidelines and why we need the variance. That being said, it does feel like it would be very similar to the other houses. And then I think we might be one of the only houses without a garage on the street. And so I mean, we plan on staying for a very long time, but we do feel like that is something that would be desirable for a house like ours to have a garage along with the other houses in the neighborhood and on the street. And then I don't know, as far as lighting goes, I didn't know if you were talking just specifically about the sun, but I think currently we have a light on the side of our house that shines more into the neighbor's side of the house that would be, you know, brought to the front of the garage. So I think from that standpoint, they would almost have a little bit more, I don't know, privacy is the right word, but and obviously we would follow any codes that would be required, but just want to bring that up. So
Sure. Yeah, thanks. I was referring to sunlight in terms of,
Okay.
you know, impacts on gardens or grass or, you know, other
Okay.
green
Yeah.
spaces or recreational spaces on their property. But and I think that the lighting fixtures, there are some building code restrictions in terms of shielding those and things like that. So that might be a little bit outside my scope. All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate that testimony. I'm going to move over to Kate Meehan. Kate from the zoning department. Kate, you prepared a staff report on this. Is there anything you'd like to add to the conversation?
No, I would just kind of, you know, bolster what Mr. Langdon and Ms. Mathis have said. You know, there are several legally non-conforming multifamily dwellings on the street. Many of the homes on the street already have garages. So certainly it is a condition that exists on the street. There are some residential dwellings that have non-conforming side yard setbacks. So even though this is SF4, I mean, I noted several, you know, legally non-conforming buildings, side yard setbacks, etc. So certainly this would not be something that is out of the ordinary on the street. And they just need, they're in SF4, so they would have the 3-foot side yard setback on the one side, but they will not total the 12-foot total that is required in SF4, which is why they need that relief of, I think it's 2 foot 5 inches because they have 6, 7 on the one side. So that's the reason that they need the relief.
Right. Okay. Anything else? Okay.
I did have a neighbor, and I believe Mr. Langdon it sounds like has spoken with them, and this has been kind of cleared up. But I think the neighbor at 3112 did call me and just say that they had a concern about property lines, and it sounds like Mr. Langdon, they have, you know, talked with that neighbor, and those have been addressed. So that would be my only other comment.
Gotcha. Okay, so they did mention property lines, not
Yes.
setbacks.
They were just
Okay.
concerned about where and I don't think they had any problem with the project. It was more just, you know, discerning where exactly the property line was and, you know, between their two properties.
Got it. Okay. All right. Thank you, Kate. Appreciate your work on the staff report and testimony here today.
Thank
All
you.
right, Mr. Langdon, Ms. Mathis, now is a chance for you to respond to anything Kate said or make any other comments in closing or otherwise before we adjourn. Nothing?
Nope.
Okay. So I've had a chance to review the application materials and the staff report. I think based on that and based on the testimony that I've heard here today, that it would be impractical to strictly enforce the zoning code to this application. So based on that, I'm going to approve the request. I need to formalize that approval in a written decision. I mentioned at the beginning that typically takes about 2 weeks. I'll try and get that out to you as soon as I can. As soon as I finish those decisions, I put them into a PDF and I'll email them to everybody who's in the hearing here today. So you'll have a copy of that really just moments after it's complete. Once you have that, Kate can approve the zoning permitting on her end, and hopefully you all are ready to move forward. Any questions about any of that?
No, we appreciate
so.
your time. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great. No problem. Thank you all. If you have any questions in the meantime, feel free to reach out. Or if you'd like a status update on the decision, just feel free to reach out to me directly. Happy to answer any questions or to give you that status. Hope you all have a good day. Good luck with the project, and we are adjourned.
Thank you.